welcome back to my channel. Today I am filming my health journey. I want to start doing some more chatty, casual, less structured videos because I follow several people who do things like this a lot and I really like watching them, and my hope is that you will like watching some of my more chatty videos. If you have ideas for future topics, of course you can drop them below, but today I'm going to talk about my health journey. Before I begin, two quick things. Number one is I've been trying to film this video literally all day, but I don't know if you knew that May 1st was actually International Lawn Mowing Day, but it is. Seriously, I am not exaggerating when I say someone has been mowing their lawn in my neighborhood since 8 a.m. this morning. It's now like 2. Just constant noise, constant noise. I actually tried to film this video earlier, and when I went back to, I put the footage on my computer to see, and it's so loud. The mowers are so loud. So I'm holding out hope that we are done, but we shall see. Second thing is, you can see I'm sitting on my floor. I almost never / have never filmed here, but I felt like I felt too stuffy sitting up on the couch and too formal because I just want this to be a little bit more relaxed. So that's the story. Let's jump in. Okay, so we all have a health journey, a health story of ups and downs, mountains and valleys, zigzags, whatever, however you want to describe it. But almost none of us, no one that I've ever met has had just like a perfect record their whole life. We've all had some really good seasons of treating our bodies well and fueling them well, and some worse seasons. And so I just want to kind of talk you through in my adult life, kind of from then until now, so that you can get a picture of kind of my past. So when I was in high school, which I realized I wasn't really an adult, but I was making choices for myself with regards to food when I was in high school. And I worked at a gym, and because I worked at a gym, I had a free gym membership, and so I was around people who really valued working out and eating healthy, which of course is a good thing to a point, but it became very obsessive for me. And so I was going to the gym every single day, and I was obsessively reading diet books, diet blogs, articles, just anything I could get my hands on that would shift me one way or the other of like what I should be eating, or what I shouldn't be eating, or when I should be eating things. And it just became like a full out obsession, and it's what I would do. And I would stay up late researching, and I would just be at the gym all the time. And even before all this went down, I was a very normal and healthy weight, and it was just not necessary, and it became, like I said, an obsession. And that behavior just continued going on, and then the stress of whatever high school stress I had of trying to get into college or whatever else, social stress, I just felt like I just like tightened my grip on obsessively going to the gym because it was something that I could control, and on being really careful about what I was eating and when I was eating it, and just all that, just like obsessing about food and exercise. And it became very unhealthy, I think. Looking back, I can see that. In the moment, I would have said that I was like so healthy and it was so great. But looking back, I can see that obsessive behavior wasn't actually the best for me. And so that was all in high school. Now, when I went to college, I moved 7 hours south for college, and very quickly was able to kind of see with clearer eyes how much time and energy I had been pouring into this one thing. And I decided to just try to pursue more balance. So I got a job as a tour guide, and that was my job all through college, which required a lot of walking, which was fantastic because it was just a nice, gentle daily exercise of walking several miles around campus, often backwards, which was great for my legs. And then because I wasn't preparing food, at least for the first 2 years that I lived on campus, I was able to go to the dining hall and make healthy choices, but also indulge in treats sometimes. And I feel like my head I just got to a much better place, not only physically, but also mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. I just got to a much better place those first few years of college, after having not been in a very good place throughout much of high school for a variety of reasons. And so as college rounded out, I really had a really good relationship with my health journey, or however you want to phrase that. Like, I loved to move my body and work out, but I also loved to watch movies with friends, and I felt like there was value to both. And I loved to eat really healthy and eat salads and grilled chicken and fruits and whatever else, but I also really loved to indulge in brownies and cookies and go out for milkshakes and the social aspect of that. And I just feel like I really did strike that balance that I had been striving for a long time, and I was really grateful for that. So that was kind of the beginning of figuring out my relationship with exercise and food, because we all have a different kind of relationship with exercise and food, right? Like, some people really need an all or nothing, black or white approach. So some people really do well with every morning at a certain time, they go to the gym, they meal prep on Sundays, they eat the same things, they do this, and I respect that so much, but that's not for me. Other people feel like a particular diet that has a name is what works for them, so they can Google recipes that revolve around that specific diet, or they can do this or that. Again, I completely respect that, but it's also not for me. And so throughout college and into my young adulthood, when I was single and living on my own, I was really just trying to figure out, like, what was this going to look like long term. And I did find a really good balance where I just approached food and exercise with a very relaxed attitude, which is not usually me. I like goals, I'm goal oriented, I'm type A, all these different things. But I felt like in this category of my life, it was so healthy for me to just be more relaxed about it and to kind of listen to my body. And if I was really craving, a heavier meal, to go ahead and eat a heavier meal, and on nights I wasn't as hungry, to just eat a salad or just a snack and call that dinner, just to really kind of let my body and let it be more organic and less structured, which again isn't the inclination of my personality. And so it was something that I really worked on, and I really did find that. And I wrote a blog post about this called Why My Approach to Food is So Relaxed, and I will link that above. And I also wrote another one that's more about just learning to just love the body I'm in and be so thankful for it, that I think was called something along the lines of hating your body will never get you as far as loving it will, or something like that. I'll link that above as well. Those two were written around that same time of like post-college, moving into marriage, and just kind of solidifying what works for me with regards to having a healthy view of food and exercise and keeping myself healthy and well, without obsession and also without apathy, somewhere in the middle between those two things. Well, then after I got married and the dust settled, which was really like, we got married in the middle of 2015. So the dust really settled by 2016. And that's when the realness of my new life kind of hit me. And I share everything about this in my Rooted series, which is in a playlist, which I'll link above if you want to go check that out. But basically what happened was, after I moved in order to get married, I really gave up a lot in terms of my friends, my job, the city I was living in, whatever. And I just was at a very, very, very low point in my life for a long time. And food is very emotional for all of us. And some people are more emotional eaters than others. But, if you taste like your grandmother's casserole or her cookies or whatever, like, there is an emotional aspect of food that I think we sometimes like to pretend is not there. But it is there. And because I was in such a low place, I found a lot of comfort in food. For the first time in probably my life, really, where I would describe myself as a very emotional eater, which was the past few years, where it just was comforting to me, like I was in a new place and there were things that everything felt out of control. And so it was easy to just eat what I wanted when I wanted. And that was very comforting to me. And I was still walking and I was still eating some like, it's not like I threw all caution to the wind and gained 400 pounds, but I certainly let my guard way down. And that balance really turned more toward the apathy side rather than the balance. And so that kind of went on for the past couple of years. This past fall was when I finally was like, okay, something's got to change, because this past fall, my Etsy shop really boomed and it was super exciting, but also unexpected, and I was not ready for it. And so we were just like scavenging for food. Whatever I could eat quickly during the day, whether it was healthy or not, was what I was going to eat, because I just didn't have the time. I mean, it's a one-woman operation, my Etsy shop is, and I'm the one that answers every customer question. I'm the one that fulfills every order, packages every order, takes it all to the post office. It is so much work, in addition to the other projects that I work on. And so it started in like October, and I just was like a little bit stunned. And so my diet just crashed. I just ate whatever I wanted, and it wasn't the best. And we tried some things to try to like get out of that rut, but it was really challenging because it just kept coming in waves. Like life just kept coming in waves. It was the holidays, then it was my birthday. Riley's birthday's in December, my birthday's in December, Christmas, right after Thanksgiving, all these holiday parties, church parties, family parties, events, traveling, this and that and the other. And it was just so many dips and so many heavy foods and just so much all the time. And it was not great. And so I just it wasn't even about gaining weight to me or not gaining weight or whatever. Like it hasn't been about that for me for a long time. I've been very freed from that kind of obsession for many years now. But I felt like junk. Like I just felt exhausted and sluggish, and I didn't feel like myself. And it was really frustrating to just feel so junky all the time. You know, I was not thrilled about that. And so then January came, we went to Disney, and Disney is full of food, and by the time we got back from that, it was like time for a reset. And so I actually took my little Erin Condren trusty notebook and wrote a list on it that I entitled Healthy Spring Reset. And it was kind of like, it's like a little manifesto with like 10 points on it of things, specific things that I wanted to focus on this spring. And I've accomplished them and done those, and that's what I want to talk about today. What I did was, whenever this was written several months ago, I sat down and I just thought one morning, what specific lifestyle changes can I make that will not make me feel deprived or angry or frustrated, but will help me to feel better, and things that I can actually stick to, you know, things that I can actually stick with, because I know that doing something really extreme, it does not work for me. I've done that in the past. It does not work for me, and I'm not interested. And so I wrote down these 10 things. I'll share them with you in case you are interested in hearing kind of what I've been focusing on lately, or if it would be helpful for you in your own journey. Okay, so the first one is fruits and veggies after dinner instead of snacking or sugar. So that is a really challenging one for me because I am a night owl, and I usually stay up well past midnight, like every single night. And I've tried all the things, I've read all the books, I've done all the things, and I've just embraced that I'm just a night owl. I just love staying up late. I've been like this since I was a little kid. It's just who I am. And the issue with that, though, is that if we eat dinner at 6 or 7, I'm hungry by 11 or midnight, like actually hungry. And it's hard to fall asleep if you're really hungry. And so what I was doing was going and getting like, because it felt like dessert time, you know? And so I was like not going to go eat like carrots. I was going to go eat candy or ice cream or whatever. And so that's what was happening like every night. So that was my first one, was to really focus on eating fruits and veggies after dinner, or just not eat at all and go to bed earlier, which I've done both of those different things. Number 2 was to watch the sugary drinks because they can be a really big waste of calories. And I wrote, this includes sugary coffee, juices, soda, sweet tea, all that kind of stuff. So my vice is sugar and my husband's vice is salt. So we complement each other well. If you have been watching our channel or if you know us in real life, you know that of course mine's sugar and his is salt because it would never be the same. Anyway, so we have opposite food vices, but mine is definitely sugar. And so for me, I just had to be really mindful about what calories and just what sugar I was putting in my mouth every day. So like, I don't need to start the morning with a sugary coffee and a big glass of orange juice and then have like a soda in the afternoon and then have like, you know what I'm saying? Like it can just keep going and it's just beverages. And so just whittling that way down to where I'm not indulging all the time, and instead I'm saving that for like if we go and I get like a vanilla latte, that's so much more of an indulgence than just like downing sugar all the time for me. What I've been doing to replace the sugary things is finding substitutes. So things like, instead of having soda, we buy seltzer water and we put lemon in it, lime in it, even like orange. You can squeeze an orange into it. We also will mix it with a splash of grapefruit juice, which like a little bit of grapefruit juice goes a long way because it's quite strong. We've just done all things like that, like little mixers, lime and grapefruit juice, things like that, where it's not a lot of sugar or no sugar at all, but it's still fizzy and it still satiates that fizzy. Kombucha, we drink a lot of kombucha because it's fizzy and it has a flavor to it, and it satiates, again, that kind of soda or fizzy drink craving. As far as coffee is concerned, I've been sweetening my coffee a lot with stevia, which I talked about in a recent lifestyle favorites video. A variety of things like that, just like little substitutions. So I'm not feeling deprived, but I'm just not buying fruit juice anymore, and I'm just not making, that kind of thing. Like I'm just being more careful. And that's not to say, like, I've had coffee with sugar in it and I've had fruit juice in the past few months. Like, this is not an all or nothing. But on a general day-to-day basis, whereas my norm used to be to have a big glass of orange juice every morning, now I have a glass of lemon water and maybe coffee sweetened with stevia, and so it's just like those small things that don't feel like you're giving up everything, but they're definitely helpful. This third one is the most important one on this list, and it has been for me, and that was to not bring junk food into the house. I am the one that does the grocery shopping, and if I bring home Oreos and cookies and brownies and ice cream and candy and chips, I'm gonna eat all of those things. And so if I just don't bring them into the house, I'm not gonna eat them. And that has been the biggest change. My sister-in-law Emily comes over every Wednesday night and we watch a TV show together and hang out for a few hours, and we've been doing this for over a year now. It's a part of our weekly rhythm. And it's hilarious because ever since we started this journey, she comes over every Wednesday and she'll peek into our pantry and she's like so disappointed. She's like, you guys don't have anything. You don't have any sweets. And we're like, we know, and there's a reason, and so we just have stopped bringing those things into the house like 95% of the time. It's not a hard and fast black and white rule. We've still brought some things home, but overall, I'm not shopping for candy, shopping for sweets, shopping for cookies. Those kinds of things are staying on the grocery shelves, and I'm only bringing home things that I really want to be putting into my body. The key with this is that if I'm really craving something, I have to get in my car, drive across town, go to wherever I'm going to go to get it, go inside, order it, buy it, whatever, check out, and drive all the way home. There are very few times when I'm willing to go to that much effort to get like a box of Sour Patch Kids. And those few times, if I'm willing to do it, then I feel like that's fine, So that's kind of been like my deal with myself, is like, if you really want it, then go get it. But I'm usually not going to do that. If it's like 10 p.m. and I'm all cuddled up on the couch, I'm probably not going to go get dressed and drive across town to go get candy. I'll probably just go find something else that's healthier to eat, And so that has been the single biggest change that we have made, is just not bringing stuff that we don't want to be eating home. And then when we do bring it home, that 5% of the time that we do bring it home, it's like the most special treat ever. It like tastes so much better because it's not one of many treats. It's the only treat we have, and so we like cherish it. So that's been the biggest change, is that we just don't bring junk food home into the house. And if we want it, we have to go out and get it, which we do sometimes do, but not very often. The next one on my list that I wrote down was to drink lots and lots of water, including lemon water. And this is something that has been so helpful for me, because a lot of times when I used to think that I was hungry, I was actually just thirsty. So I start each day with a huge glass of lemon water, and then I just refill it all day and I drink water all day. I think this is part of the reason why my acne has cleared up so much, but I think that's probably 25% of it, but 75% of it has just been eating such a more balanced, nutritious diet, because I had like cystic hormonal acne for the past about 4 years, and it is rough to get rid of, let me tell you, so rough. But I feel like by nourishing my body and not putting my body into a constant state of like inflammation with like the craziest, wackiest like Franken foods, and having real nourishing foods in my system, and eating lots of greens and that kind of thing, my skin is cleared up, and I'm like so grateful for it. So drinking lots and lots of water throughout the day has been really helpful for sure. My fifth goal that I wrote down that I've been really sticking to is to watch the content that I watch or consume. So the things that I read, look at, watch, that kind of thing. Because if I am watching people make chocolate cake, then I'm going to want to eat a chocolate cake every single day. It's science. So I have to be thoughtful about like what I'm looking at, because if my entire Instagram feed is all dessert shops and bakeries and cake decorators, I'm not really setting myself up for that much success, because we are such visual people, and when you see 500 chocolate cakes, you want one. And so it's all about just guarding, kind of like, maybe let's not do that. And instead I've been following some of the accounts that share healthy recipe ideas and like delicious salad ideas and roasted vegetable ideas, like different things like that. I've just been following a few people like that, and I've really kind of liked watching those instead, or looking at those instead, because it helps give me new ideas of things that are still delicious, maybe not as delicious as a chocolate cake, but still delicious, and that are better for me. And so that's been really helpful, because if I watch Food Network, I feel like I eat about 4,000 calories more than days that I don't watch Food Network. It just makes me hungry. My number 6 goal for this spring was to choose movement, which means just to make choices during the day that would inspire my body to move. For example, park farther away, take Charlie on more walks, clean the house more, all those kinds of things that are just really easy ways to get more movement in, have been super helpful. So now that the weather's warmer, I've been taking my dog Charlie on walks pretty much every night. It's super nice. My husband and I will walk like 3 to 5 miles, so like a nice long walk. It's a great way to unwind. It's just great. And it's also really good to get that exercise in at the end of a long day. I've also been working on just cleaning more. Like yesterday, I deep cleaned and scrubbed down our master bathroom, which obviously has to get done, but like I'm sore today from doing that. Like when you're scrubbing out a huge bathtub and like really working on it and scrubbing out a shower, like it's hard work. And so doing those kinds of things more often instead of lounging on the couch has been really, really helpful to me. And so I'm not the kind of person that like is super into some of the current fitness trends and things like that. It's just not my style. My family members love that kind of stuff, so I have nothing against it. If you want to be in a CrossFit gym all the time, or if you want to be at any gym all the time, or in a yoga studio, like more power to you, girl. You do you. I am not into those things. They do not fill me up. And what fills me up much more is incorporating movement into my life that's a little bit more sneaky. So like scrubbing down the bathroom. Like I broke a sweat and I'm sore today. Like that was a good workout. But it's not a traditional like going to the gym. I still will do like, I'll still go for a jog, or I'll still do like a workout video, and like those, I'll still do those things every once in a while. But it's just not something that's going to be a part of my routine, probably, because it doesn't really work for me. So that's that. Number 7, this is a good one. This was don't become obsessive. This is a gentle reset for long-term positive changes and not a crazy crash diet. Knowing that I have gotten into the craziness in the past, which I think a lot of us have. A lot of us have gone down that rabbit hole and then come out like the other end, not feeling much better, not looking any different, like not really that different, but just a little bit crazy. And so I didn't want to go down that route. And so this has been so great. It truly has been a positive, step-by-step, slow change that's been sustainable. We've been doing it for several months now. My husband's completely on board, and we feel great, and we do not feel deprived, which is the biggest thing that I did not want. I did not want to feel deprived, because when I feel deprived, I don't stick to things. If you follow Gretchen Rubin at all, she talks a lot about people who are abstainers versus people who are moderators. So an abstainer is someone who sees things in more black and white. Like, for example, Gretchen herself is an abstainer, and she hasn't eaten sugar in, I think, 12 years, like at all, ever. And so that's like a true abstainer. For her, it's easier just to do all or nothing. Whereas some people are moderators, and that's me. I'm much more of a moderator. That is so stressful to me to think about, having to give up any one item for a decade or whatever. Like, there's no way. But what she says that's interesting is that she feels that same way about moderating. She always says, I can't imagine trying to have to moderate and figure out what's enough and what's not enough. It's just easier for me to cut it out. Whereas I feel the opposite. I'm like, that's way too much. So different people are different. You should take that to the bank. But so my point is, you may be an abstainer looking at me and thinking, this is so crazy, but I'm a moderator thinking, I'm not just gonna cut it out. It doesn't work for me. So for me to just be able to cut things back little by little, not become obsessive, but just not drink fruit juice in the morning and instead drink a big thing of lemon water, like those small changes add up and I just feel so much better for them. Number 8 is avoid emotional eating. Take all my issues and problems to the Lord and not to the pantry. So this has been a big one for me because, like I said, this downward spiral really started with an emotional low in my life, which was everything that I talked about in my rooted journey. And the reality is that many of you know, all of those issues have not been resolved. It's not like I'm in a much better place, but I'm not completely, in the perfect place. Are any of us though? I think none of us are really in the perfect place. So because of that, I just have to keep myself in check. Like if I have a really hard day, I need to think about what I'm doing to deal with that. And there are other types of treats that are not food. So for me, taking a long hot bath is an amazing treat to me, just as indulgent to me as dessert. And so sometimes doing that instead of having dessert is a good option. Other days, I'm not taking a bath, I'm eating chocolate, and that's great. But it's about balance, and it's about, for me, moderation. Number 9 is finding the difference between weeks and weekends. So what I have been doing is we have been eating well-rounded, nutritious, wholesome meals all throughout the week, Monday through Friday, and then we've been more indulgent on the weekends. And this rhythm has worked out so well for us. It's so nice to look forward to the weekend and look forward to baking brownies or look forward to making a big, heavy, hearty meal. And then during the week, it's great to look forward to all the energy that comes with eating really great salads and eating eggs in the morning and that kind of thing. And so that rhythm has been great for us. Again, that's very much on that moderator side of things. If you're more of an abstainer, you might have to approach how you structure your weeks a little bit differently. But for me, that works out really well because then Monday through Friday, I kind of know that these are my days. I'm really just going to fuel my body and I'm just going to feed myself nutritious foods. But then on the weekends, there's a little bit more wiggle room. And if I want to have a brownie sundae or if I want to go out for milkshakes and cheeseburgers, like we can totally do that, and that has worked great. It's worked really, really well for me. And my last item on the list that I wrote was to just enjoy the journey and not think of it with an end date. So whereas in the past when I would do those diets, I would do them for a certain amount of time, this is genuinely a lifestyle change. And it's just been slow changes over the past few months since the beginning of the year that have helped us so much. Some positive changes that we've seen aside from both of us losing some weight has been, which in my opinion have been much more important, that we both have so much more energy. I am able to sleep better, and then I also wake up so much easier. Because I'm a night owl, I've always struggled with waking up, but since eating so well, I've just been waking up and I have all this energy and I feel ready to start my day. And I always would hear people talking about like all this energy you would gain if you ate, more wholesome foods, and I would always just kind of roll my eyes. But it's true. Like it really makes a huge difference. My skin, like I said, has cleared up. I feel like I don't have as much of like a foggy head. Like I feel like I can think more clearly. All the good things that come with fueling your body with nutritious, wholesome foods. Like I said, you'll still see me eat cheeseburgers. You'll still see me eat fried food. You'll still see me eat ice cream and all that kind of stuff. But whereas that was like the bulk of my diet and eating well was like a small percentage, I've just shifted that paradigm. So it's like the whole 80-20 thing. 80% of the time I eat really well, 20% of the time I eat what I want. And I once had a health teacher tell me that all food has value. Some has nutritional value and some has emotional value, and I totally agree with that. So her example was a chocolate chip cookie doesn't have a lot of nutritional value, but it has a lot of emotional value. And whether it's because it was your grandmother's recipe or because you're sitting around with friends at night watching a movie and that's just like, like there is a value to both. And so, but I think for me, putting that into the correct ratio in my life has been so helpful. So that's kind of where I am. As I move forward into the summer, I'm going to continue to both enjoy myself and practice moderation and balance. It's not about some kind of crazy one way or the other. It's just really finding that line and walking that line of choosing healthy foods and fueling my body well. If you go visit my Instagram page, I often post what we are eating for dinner, and I have a hashtag that is #BlairBlogsCooks. and that has a lot of different meals that I've made on it, and a lot of times I'll include like a loose recipe, and then you can go and Google if you want more information. But definitely go ahead and follow me on Instagram if you want to follow along with what we've been eating. Additionally, my weekly vlogs, I have shared a lot of the dinners that we've been making or just meals throughout the day, so you can go and check out my weekly vlogs. I'll link that above. And then finally, I will link below a link to one of my most recent blog posts, which was 5 dinner recipes that we love. And they're all really healthy, filling, delicious meals, a salad, some different chicken recipes, things like that, that are super yummy, that I'll link below. And you can go check those out as well if you are looking for some inspiration. Like I said earlier, we all really do have our own health journey, and so I would love to hear from you. And where are you in yours? Are you in a mountain? Are you in a valley? Are you where I am now, where I was last year? Are you super fitness, super healthy eating person? Like, tell me about yourself and kind of where you are and how you got to where you are in this journey. I would ask, of course, that you would be super respectful, not only of my story, but of anyone else's who comments below, because food and fitness and health is just very personal, and it can be very emotional, and I don't want anyone to be disrespectful or offensive. You can state your opinions, or you can state your journey without shutting down other people. So just be really cognizant of that, and you can read my comment policy. It is always in the more description bar if you're unsure, and if it's not a kind comment, or if you've said something that is hurtful to someone else, then I'm going to delete it, because I really value a positive community where people can express different opinions and different lifestyles and different choices without bashing one another. So that's that. That is my health journey. I hope you enjoyed this chattier video. If you have ideas for other chatty videos like this, I would love for you to leave them below. And like I said, I would love to hear about your own health journey. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, because that will help me to get a gauge on where you stand. And also, please subscribe to my channel if you aren't already. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you later. Bye.